So, I popped into High House Insurance to see if they could quote for my house insurance rather than using the internet. High House got a great deal. So to celebrate, I bought a posh hairdo. It made me look beautiful, gorgeous enough to become a highly paid model. I then won Celebrity Big Brother. I had an affair with an MP. Now I'm promoting a doll of me that says, "Cool blimey, you're well fit."
Happy things happen when you talk face-to-face with High House Insurance. See if we can beat your home insurance quote from the internet. Find us on the High Street, Selsey, or call 606 552.
Hello there, my name's Keith Barnes and I'd like to wish you a very warm welcome to Selsey Internet Radio. During this week's programme, we'll hear Hugh talk to a remarkable lady who took part in a charity swim just a few months after having a leg amputated. And I can promise you that's not all that's remarkable about this story. But firstly, let's go over to Pat Reed, who's going to tell us what's going on in and around Selsey for the coming week. And this feature is sponsored this week by our friends at Star Advertising Products.
Week commencing Saturday the 5th of July. On Saturday the 5th, the Selsey Scout Group's charity shop at their headquarters in School Lane will be open as usual from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, where they will be selling bric-a-brac, books, clothes, etc. On Tuesday the 8th of July, the Royal Naval Association will be holding their branch meeting at the Selsey Club, Cox's Road at 8 p.m. The branch meets on the second Tuesday in every month. For more information, contact Gavin on 607485. Also on Tuesday the 8th, the Selsey Visually Impaired Club will be meeting at Hanover Close Lounge from 2 to 4 p.m. Transport is available with the Selsey Venture Bus, and to arrange this, telephone 605115. For more information, contact Bobby on 602730. On Wednesday, the 9th of July, Selsey Women's Institute will be holding their meeting at 2:15 in the Town Hall. The speaker is Gilly Halcrow, who will talk about the history of food and drink and table manners. A warm welcome is extended to all ladies, and for more information, contact Shirley on 60287 or Rosie on 602449. On Friday the 11th, the Derby and Joan Club will be meeting at 2 p.m. in St Peter's Church Hall. All are welcome, and there is fun bingo and a nice cup of tea, and for more information contact Jill on 604187. Also on Friday the 11th, the Selsey Horticultural Society will be holding their meeting at the Selsey Centre. Sarah Aldridge will be giving a talk on Through the Seasons at Kew and Wakefield. New members and visitors are always welcome, and for more information contact Linda on 601483. That's all for now.
Thank you to Pat and to Star Advertising Products for that information. We go across now and join Hugh Graham, who's talking to an absolutely remarkable lady.
This is Hugh Graham for Selsey Internet Radio, and some people are brave, some people have great courage, and then there is Muriel. Muriel Mason, to be precise, and the only word to describe her effectively is indomitable. I spent most of Sunday afternoon on June the 22nd with Muriel in Park Lane, Selsey, where she was celebrating her 102nd birthday. It was Muriel who, on her 100th birthday 2 years ago, 6 months after her right leg had been amputated, undertook a sponsored swim for the Selsey lifeboat, where she made more than £5,000 in the process. She's a fantastic lady who will never give in, and she holidays in Selsey most summers with her daughter, Jo Wainwright. After strawberries and cream and birthday cake, I asked Muriel how the relationship with Selsey Lifeboat began. Muriel's here with her daughter, Jo Wainwright. Jo, how did the relationship with the Selsey Royal National Lifeboat start?
Well, we're down here on holiday.
Yes, with
And I used to do things and raise money for different objects. Never to give the people money for a building, but for something that they required. And I decided on my 100th birthday to do a swim in our local pool at Walton to raise money. 96. I did a swim of quarter of a mile to help a young man get a new
No, he'd had his right leg removed. He'd had cancer in the bone since he was 13.
Yeah.
And his sister is a year younger and aged 19 when he lost his right leg.
Uh-huh.
She had already worked for most of the time, bought her own car, and was driving, and he, of course, had nothing.
Yeah.
So we decided that perhaps a sponsored swim would raise enough money when he had his new prosthetic leg for him to learn to drive.
Okay.
So Mum did the 21-length swim, a quarter of a mile in our local pool, and raised £2,200.
And that was on the 96th birthday?
That was the day after her 96th birthday.
Okay. So tell me about how the association with Selsey began. You come down here for holidays most summers, don't you?
Right. We started off in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And we had a connection with Mevagissey Boat, the lady and gentleman who ran the lifeboat shop in Mevagissey. Unfortunately, he passed away, again with cancer, and his wife moved. And the following year, we came to Selsey because we know Richard and Rosemary through the connection with their daughters.
Uh-huh.
And we needed to get out of our house while it was rewired, basically. So we came for a week while the house was sorted, and we enjoyed it so much we decided to come again. And we went down to the Lifeboat Inn and past the lifeboat shop. And we'd always collected money when we make and sell toys or things in that line. We'd put the money in a small envelope, which I had in my pocket. So when we came the second time to Selsey, I had about £200 and thought, well, we don't know the people at Mevagissey anymore. Why don't we give it to Selsey? So that was where the first...
So that's how you started to support the Selsey lifeboat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what year was that?
2006.
Okay.
No, 2009. We had the house rewired.
Okay.
So that was the first year we came to Selsey.
Tell me how did you get the idea, Muriel, to do this swim on your 100th birthday?
Just to do something for somebody else.
Okay. And so you swam 10 lengths
Yep.
of the swimming pool,
Yep.
watched by everybody, including me. And how long did it take? Do you remember?
I think about 20 minutes, because each time I got to the shallow end, having done two, a lot of our friends were up on the balcony and they all cheered.
That's true, they did.
Yeah.
And your doctor was swimming with you, wasn't he?
Yes.
He did do a swim, yes.
Right, now then, how much money did you raise for the Selsey lifeboat as a result of that sponsored swim?
£5,200.
£5,200?
Yeah, in the picture it says 4,500, but after that I'd still got more money coming in.
Right, now there was something really exciting about this, because in the January before you did the swim, something happened, Muriel. What happened?
I had to have my right leg off, because if that hadn't have gone, I'd have died.
Yeah.
So the chap said to me about what shall I do. I said, well, whatever you've got to do.
Yeah.
And he said something.
He actually said, if your heart stops while I'm operating, do you want me to resuscitate you? And you sat up on the A&E trolley and said, yes, please, I'm doing a 10-length sponsored swim on my birthday in June. And he said, oh, all right.
So no one actually doubted you, do they? All right, that's fine. So, but he also said, didn't he, that it was your doctor who said that if you did the swim, he'd do it with you?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Redfern.
Dr. Bates.
Dr. Bates.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
because he always called me the swimming lady.
well, I imagine he would do. So now I am told that you're planning a swim on your 105th birthday.
Well,
And no one's actually doubts that you're going to do it.
we'll have to wait and see.
But would it be for the Selsey lifeboat?
Probably.
Okay, right.
We haven't decided yet quite, but we're working on it.
Okay, all right.
We decided that a bungee jump was not a good idea,
Yeah.
which has been suggested. We also had a suggestion of jumping out of a plane, which we thought
On a
was
tandem jump.
not very sensible with just one leg, which we do rely on a great deal. So a swim or a wheelchair push,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Okay. But I'm absolutely certain it will happen, and I'm going to be there to watch it happen.
Oh, we sincerely hope so.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Mira. And I'll see you at your birthday next year when you'll be 103.
Yes, please.
Okay. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
And so, after filling himself up with tea and cakes, our intrepid reporter Hugh gets on his bike in search of another story.
I'm in Hillfield Road, Selsey, and I'm actually in the shop of Summit Bikes, and I'm talking to Steve Mitchell, who's just come back from Paris. Steve, why were you in Paris?
I took part in a charity cycle ride. All proceeds were going to leukemia lymphoma research, and we cycled from Greenwich Park in London to the Eiffel Tower.
How many miles was it?
500 kilometres, so you do the math, about 320, 330 I think.
Okay. And how long did it take you?
Did it over 4 days.
And who was competing anyway, or?
Well, it wasn't officially a race, however, with most cyclists there is an element of competition, so yeah, it was a bit of a race.
So, who got there first?
The professional. There was one professional there, as well as a couple of professional footballers, as well as some serious races.
So what sort of bike were you on?
I was on a Lapierre Zelius carbon fibre 2,400 pound road bike.
Really? And what's happening to that bike now?
That bike is now being raffled off. We've been selling tickets for some time now at £5 each.
Right.
And somebody will win that bike on this Sunday. The draw is taking place at the Seal on Sunday at 5 o'clock.
All right. So it's too late by the time people listen to this for them to enter. Will you be doing it again next year?
Definitely, and there will be another bike.
Okay, so people who need a £2,500 bike for a fiver can come and see you for your competition next year.
They can come and see me straight away.
All right.
I'll start taking donations, raffle tickets as of now.
Were there any really exceptional people taking part?
I would say a good 90% of the people there were exceptional. Everybody had a story.
Well, just tell us one or two of those stories.
Sure. Yeah, there was a lady who only had one leg, who rode it with her husband on a tandem. And
What, the full 320 miles?
The full lot over 4 days, with some really big hills. A lot of people think north of France is quite flat. You get on a bike, it's not flat at all.
Yeah.
To the chap that had polio as a child, so he did wheelchair races for a good 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
Then he contracted leukemia 5 years ago.
It's truth.
He's now, like myself, 5 years clear, and he did it on a recumbent bike, which is lay down and you pedal with your arms.
Really?
Yeah. Amazing.
And he did 320 miles?
He did 320 miles, just the same
What,
as the rest of us.
lying
Lying down.
And the whole purpose of this sort of charity cycle ride was what?
To raise important funds for blood cancers.
Okay. And how much do you think was raised?
Currently, there's still donations coming in, but currently just over £1 million was raised over 240 people that took part.
Okay, and how much have you raised so far?
Me, around 4,000.
And if people want to donate to you now, how do they do it?
They go on the computer, go onto our website, justgiving.com/Steve-Mitchell10, and they can donate on there, or they can just pop into the shop in Hillfield Road.
All right. Steve, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Right, we have Lynn Reed from Tutley Rice, and she's going to excite our taste buds. What with?
How about a nice quick crispy chicken with tomatoes and asparagus, Hugh, for a midweek meal?
That sounds brilliant to me.
And you can scale this recipe down so you can just do it for one person if you would like.
All right,
okay. So your ingredients this morning, we're going to start off with I've got 2 chicken breasts here. You can scale that down to 1. All right, a skinless chicken breast, some sea salt, some freshly ground black pepper, 1 bunch of asparagus, yum yum, some olive oil, 4 rashers of pancetta. Now you can get that in all the supermarkets now, and it's very, very tasty. 250 grams of cherry tomatoes, 5 black olives, so we're going to put some olives in here for some flavour. You want a couple of fresh sprigs of basil if you can get them. If not, use a bit of dried basil at your cupboard. A small nub of butter and a splash of wine. And a splash of wine.
I think a large splash of wine.
A large splash of wine. 1 for you and 1 for the pan.
Okay.
Okay.
No, 2 for me and 1 for the pan.
Okay then, whatever. You drink. This is a really quick and simple meal that's perfect for a midweek supper. All right, so it's really, really easy to do. And I have put olives in here to add a little bit of saltiness and a little bit more flavour, but that's optional, and it's down to you whether you like olives or not. You could actually add some anchovies into this, which would give it a bit more flavour.
I don't like anchovies.
Or a bit of sun-dried tomato.
That'll do.
Yeah, just to give it that.
I don't like fish anyway.
No, anchovies are very strong tasting anyway, aren't they? And Okay, so put your hand on a peat. Put your pan on the heat. All right. Put your chicken breast on a board and slice them 3 times down the middle so that each one looks like little fingers. Yeah. But leave about 1 centimetre joined at the top. Yeah. You got me? Sprinkle with a pinch of salt and pepper. Snap the woody ends off the asparagus spears and add a splash of olive oil to the pan, followed by the chicken, pancetta and asparagus. And cook that through for about 10 minutes. And you get this nice flavour coming up from the pan until the chicken and the asparagus are cooked through, turned halfway. Yeah? Right? Lift the pancetta onto the top of the chicken once it's gone golden and crispy. So once that's gone golden and crispy, lift it to the top of the chicken so it can cook no more in the pan. Okay. All right? Move the chicken, bacon or pancetta and asparagus to one side of the pan and then throw in the tomatoes, olives and basil leaves and a little bit of butter. All right? So you've got that sizzling away. Reduce it to a low heat and add your splash of wine. 1 for you, 1 for the pan. To help make your sauce, and leave it to bubble away, and it'll thicken up after a couple of minutes, and leave that to bubble away. And then you just divide it onto your plate. Use your tongs to divide the chicken, bacon or pancetta and most of the tomatoes between your plates. Squash the remaining tomatoes, mixing them with the lovely juices in the pan, and then drizzle them over the chicken before you serve it. And it's absolutely delicious midweek.
I think it's delicious any time.
Yeah.
Now then, could you put some parmesan on, do you think?
You could put parmesan. Actually, you should play with all recipes like that. Yeah. You should put, whatever you fancy into a recipe.
Anything to do with tomato, I inevitably put parmesan on.
Lovely. Yeah, I like a bit of cheese as well. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, Hugh?
Well, that'll do.
Yeah,
Thank
good.
you very much.
You're very welcome.
Well, when you've finished devouring Linda's delightful dish, you may want to go out in the garden and work some of it off. And maybe next year you can join this next group of people who raised a whole bunch of money by opening their gardens.
I'm in Wessex Lodge and I'm talking to Margaret Goodman, who is the driving force behind the Selsey Gardens Open Day. This year there were 17 gardens in Selsey open to the public on Sunday the 22nd of June. How successful was it this year then, Margaret?
Very successful. The sun shone for us, which was a wonderful bonus. It was the best year we've had. This is the 5th year of this event, and with the sun shining and the gardens being burgeoning actually this year because everything was a month early, it was a tremendously successful day. We had 485 visitors.
What, they can't all have visited 17 gardens, surely?
Some do all 17, but others might do 2 or 3. Of the 17 gardens, 2 were allotments, but we had 11 of the gardens were wheelchair accessible, and we had 8 selling refreshments. 1 was selling lunches and the other 7 were doing teas and coffees and delicious cakes.
So was this free of charge, or did people have to buy a programme, or how did they get access to the gardens?
People have to buy a programme, and it's all publicised well ahead of the event. Tickets are on sale in Selsey a month before the event. And for £5 per admission ticket, that gets you into all 17 gardens. Right. Or, as a friend of mine says, You pay £5 for the first garden and 16 are free.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and I see that the programmes are numbered.
Yes, they are.
Is that your ticket, actually?
That is the ticket.
Okay.
So every person needs a ticket to get in.
And
we take a note of the number to help our analysis of who's been where afterwards, which is actually useful. And it's a little competition also that runs between the garden owners just to know how many people have come through their garden. They're often very surprised. Well, that I haven't actually quantified yet. So I will do that before Sunday when all the garden owners arrive to hear what the amount is that we've raised this year, which is a staggering amount this year, I must say.
How much did you raise?
We have raised £5,213.
It's truth.
Yes.
And how is that going to be split?
It's split completely down the middle between St Wilfrid's Hospice in Chichester and lots of people in Selsey have used this facility, and also the Alzheimer's Society, and the money stays within West Sussex. So
that's brilliant.
It is another local charity.
So you've been running this open gardens thing for 5 years?
Yes, this is the 5th year.
So how much money have you raised altogether?
Over £22,000.
What, for local charities?
For local charities.
How wonderful.
It is a wonderful figure, one of which I'm immensely proud, and everyone who's involved with this event should be incredibly proud of that. Okay. It goes a long way, I like to think, to
now I'm going to ask you a really difficult question now.
Yeah.
You can't count your own garden, because I won't allow that. But which garden did you like best?
Oh, it's a tricky one. There were 2 vying for first place for me.
Yeah.
You don't really expect me to
name
them.
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's really putting me on the spot.
Of course. Because but in any case, it's all subjective, isn't it? Because what you will like will be different to what I like.
Absolutely.
So I'm only asking for your personal opinion.
Okay.
This is not a judge.
No, absolutely not. But there's 2. There was one in East Street, which is a long, narrow garden, absolutely full to capacity. Plants climbing up the wall, vegetables growing, a pond. It's a long, narrow garden, like a town garden. Yeah. Absolutely fabulous. Loved it. Everything's growing into each other. My sort of garden. And the other one I liked equally as much. And both of them.
Wait, just before you leave that one, how many times had he exhibited or opened?
There was an interesting story behind this particular garden owner. He had come and visited our garden. I think it was the 1st or 2nd year of Selsey Gardens opening. And he approached me and said, I'd really like to open my garden next year. And I was delighted. And I said, that's great. Can I take your name and number and I'll give you a buzz? I rang him the next year and he said, no, I won't be opening this year, not ready. I said, that's fine. I rang him the following year and I got the same response. I put the phone down and I remember saying to my husband, oh, it's a real shame. I said, I don't think that guy's ever going to open. Anyway, by chance, we discovered we knew each other because I volunteer at the RSPB at Peckham Harbour, and so does Brian. And we were chatting over a cup of tea, discovered we actually knew each other. And I said, well, are you going to open this year? And he said, yes. And I had a chance to go and see this glorious garden. And one of the reasons I think it was holding him back saying yes was he was concerned that people wouldn't like his garden. I can understand that because we all love our own gardens, but you can't expect all the visitors to like your garden. Everyone will have a different take. Some like gardens that grow into each other, others like manicured gardens. Some people like small gardens with just pots. Everyone will have a different take. Yeah. But he was delighted, and I saw his wife just this morning and she said, we sat down as the last visitor left and Brian turned to her and said, well, what are we going to do next year? Wonderful. Wonderful story.
So that's one garden. So what was the other one?
And the other one is a garden in Albion Road, and that's owned by Tennant and Elaine, and that's almost 2 gardens in one. Front garden has this amazing flower beds having shady plants and beautiful trees and a summer house, and you go through a side gate and there is the most fantastic pond, wildlife pond, surrounded by a huge gunra, which is like gigantium rhubarb.
Yeah.
That's what the leaves look like. And then Tennant has developed bespoke delphinium frames, and they have a folly in their garden, which I believe I'm right in saying was brought from either Devon or Cornwall, and it's in the corner, and it looks like this part ruin of an abbey.
Yeah.
Has been there forever, but of course it's been brought in. It's a modern one, but it's been brought in and it's mellowed and it looks fantastic.
Okay.
And so those two for me, because they were the two new ones this year, or 2 of the 7 new ones, were they if you like, were my type of garden.
Okay.
So that's.
But everybody else would have had a different view, wouldn't they?
Oh yes, I mean there are others. I mean there was allotments open for the first time this year.
Yeah.
We had Park Road opening for the second time. They had 10 allotments, and then this year Mill Lane opened their allotments, and there they had Mill Lane allotments opened for the first time this year, and this area was formerly a market garden in the 1950s. Then it became a wilderness, and in less than 12 months it's been transformed into 25 productive vegetable gardens.
Yeah.
Now that's a phenomenal achievement.
It is, isn't it?
And they were very popular because gardening and vegetable growing has become very popular in the last few years, I think. Yeah. And people were very keen to see what can be achieved in a short space of time. And that was apparently a very, very good turnout of people at their.
So, did people drive around, or did they ride on bicycles, or did they walk?
It was
or did they do all?
It was a mix. We had some people who drive around, and they might just do a small cluster,
yeah,
and maybe have morning coffee and a slice of cake, or afternoon tea and a slice of cake, then go home. We had people cycling round that do all of them.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was walking, and they did 12 out of 14.
It's true.
Out of 17, sorry, and that's quite something because it was a warm day as well.
Yeah.
But
they must have been at it all day.
Well, we worked it out. If there's 17 gardens and it's open 11 till 5,
yeah,
they can have 20 minutes in each garden. But that doesn't allow for sitting down having a cup of tea or cake or lunch at St Andrew's Lodge, and it doesn't allow for the time taken to go between each garden. So
how many people did you catch nicking plants or cuttings?
Never. I've never seen that. We have plant stalls. I have a plant stall in my garden, and I've never ever seen anyone take a cutting or snip. Have a little pair of secateurs that they get out their bag and snip something off and put it straight into a polythene bag as per Monty Don's advice. No, it doesn't happen. Or if it does, I've never seen it.
Okay.
I've never seen it. People buy plants because they're keen to. If they see something that's unusual in your garden. I do try and do some cuttings, as other people have, and the plant sales this year were very good, very, very good. There's a garden in Southern Road, and wonderful, wonderful gardener there. Definitely got green fingers, and her plants just flew off the shelves.
Really?
Yes, and phenomenal ones. Ones that she's taken note that people are keen to purchase, and Joe has grown them on to sell. As has actually Brian and Francesca. They did a lot of plant sales. Yeah, if people love gardening, they'll put a few seeds out and then think, right, can't use them all, I'll sell them on the day.
Okay. Right, now Dick, a question for you. When is the Open Gardens Day next year?
Oh, I'm still recovering, Hugh. Trust me, it'll be June again. It will be June. June has settled down. This weekend in June is a good one.
Can we choose a different day to my friend's 103rd birthday?
But is it all? Obviously, she is 103rd on the 23rd of June. Last year it was the 22nd of June. Right. So you could have come to it last year,
I could have done, yeah.
And why didn't you?
I didn't know about it last year.
That isn't possible. With all the publicity, that isn't possible, Hugh.
All right.
You get a black mark from me for that
I
answer.
shall be there next year.
I'm holding to that.
Now, I have another question for you.
Yeah?
At some point in the next week or two, can we do a complete podcast on gardening?
Yes,
and your enthusiasm for it.
You said yes. I'd love to do that.
All right,
then. Fabulous.
Thanks a lot, Margaret.
Thank you.
Well, sadly, that's all from the podcast for this week. I'd like to say a great big thank you to the team and to all our contributors, and especially to our sponsors. And we look forward to seeing you again in the very near future.